Hey there, welcome to the Hello Road podcast, the show where we talk about obscure cars, road trips, unique travel destinations, and our current car adventures. My name is Ethan.
My name is Paul.
And this is episode 11. We've made it 11 episodes so far.
11 episodes in, yeah. We're well on our way to 1,000.
Okay, yes, exactly. We finally got some intro music. We finally have that. Took us a while to get that, but now we're like on our way to becoming like professionals, I think.
Yeah. We're official now that we have intro music. So, and
yes,
it's, I really dig it. It's very bass heavy, and as a bass player, I think it sounds awesome. So
nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you dig it. I actually wrote and recorded that song, and it was on my last album. So if you want to check that whole song out, it's you can go to youtube.com/stateshirt where I have some of my music. So
I'm gonna have to listen to some of that. That's gonna be awesome.
Nice.
For sure.
So it's been a little while since we've done a show. We had a couple weeks of craziness, personal life craziness stuff going on.
Yep.
So, but now that we're back into it, I figured we could talk about what we've been up to, car related in the last couple weeks. I have a lot of stuff that I did, and I'm sure you did as well, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's, all this crazy life stuff happens, and then at the same time all the crazy car stuff is happening too.
Yeah.
Versus the weeks that like we're recording, it's like, well, I didn't do anything with the car.
Do anything, yes.
But not the story this week, that's for sure. So
yeah.
So yeah, you do have a lot of stuff to talk about, and the thing that I've been dying to hear about the most is the Bring a Trailer experience you had.
Yeah, so I have this E46. I had the 2003 330 Ci. I bought that from a coworker about 6 months ago, and it was great chassis. It's so much fun to toss around the corners. Great sound of the inline six. It just happened to be an automatic, so it wasn't a forever car. It wasn't even like a 7-month car. I wanted to get rid of it. I just wanted to experience it and then kind of flip it.
Yeah.
So I did a couple videos with the car, and that it was fun. It was fun to kind of have it around for 6 months. But really, the goal was to kind of unload it and see if I could make a few bucks. So I bought it from my coworker. He just didn't want to bother selling it. He sold it to me for $2,500. I put about $1,000 into it, and then when the time came to sell it, I figured, why don't I just give Bring a Trailer a shot? I was thinking maybe I would do Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, but I figured, well, I'd taken some pretty nice photos of the car. Why don't I just submit the car? And they don't accept everybody.
Oh, really?
And no, there's a lot of cars they deny.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think they try to curate. I guess it's more of just to try to keep the quality of the cars on the site high.
Okay.
But I've heard some cars that they've denied that seem like they should have been up there. But I guess if you look at my vehicle, it's an automatic E46. I was kind of surprised that they accepted it. It seems like the Bring a Trailer audience is maybe more geared towards manual transmission lovers.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised when they accepted it, but I was like, all right, let's give this a shot. But yeah, overall, I submitted a bunch of photos. They get back to you a bunch of questions, and they write the ad basically.
Okay.
Yeah, which I didn't know. I thought I had to go and write a bunch of stuff, but with all the information that you give them, the Carfax, the photos. I tried to take good photos of all the little areas of issue and areas of concern with it, scratches and that kind of thing. And they write the ad. So
that's crazy. I did not know that. That my experiences with Bring a Trailer has just been from, I guess, years past before they kind of turned themselves into like almost like an auction website they are now.
Sure.
Where it was literally just like a page where you can go and search almost anything and see where there might have been somebody, submitted a Craigslist ad for like some weird unique car or, just some desirable car, and it's done up on the site.
Yep.
So yeah, this whole auction thing is a new thing. Well, to me at least, it's a newish thing to them, and I didn't know they wrote the ads and everything too. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. It was So I don't know how long they've been doing the auction thing, but I had, I've been following it for a while. Every once in a while, I'll bid on a car, and usually kind of not seriously. There might be just a few cars that I'd like, but I know that I don't have the space for another vehicle. But so I got it up there. I made a little video for it since I had a bunch of footage left over from my YouTube video that I did with this car. So I had some really nice looking video, and I was really happy with the photos. And I think that might have been one of the reasons why they accepted it, because I feel like the photos were really good.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. And so got it up there, and you go back and forth, and you pick a date, and then they go live with it. So went live. I think, and I did no reserve. I wanted to just kind of see if I could really build up the excitement, and I just kind of wanted to unload the car. So
yeah,
even if I didn't make that much money on it, I just kind of wanted to get rid of it. So
right.
So the ad went live, and I think it was 7 days, maybe. So it went live, and then for a few days, I think I got a couple bids, and then it was just sort of stuck at $2,000 for like 5 days. And I was like, oh no, this sucks. I'm going to lose money on this car. But then as we got a little bit closer to the final day, I started watching a little more closely. I made sure to set aside a couple hours right at the end of the auction to kind of follow along, because I was sort of interested to see how this whole process works. Right at the end there, maybe I would say with like 3 hours to go, that's when the kind of a frenzy started, and you start to see more people comment, get a couple bids. It went up to 3,000, and then went up to 3,100, and then it was up to 33, and then it was up to 39. So pretty quickly, it was up to $4,600, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty. I'd be pretty happy if it sold for that. I really was hoping for like 5, but my goal was like, as long as I get over 4, I'll feel pretty good. And then right at the end, somebody bid 5,500, and that kind of shut everybody else down. I think somebody put their balls on the table. Essentially, is like, I want this car.
Yeah.
And then that kind of shut it down. And then after that bid, it was sold, and it was pretty crazy too. Just to watch all the frenzy of people bidding, and the comments of, I guess having not gone through that process of bring a trailer auction before, I would say that it was way more exciting than, like, for instance, an eBay auction, just because you have the comments. You can see people talking about it and like egging people on, like, I think somebody else should bid. This is it should sell for way more than this, that kind of thing. So
right.
It was fun, and I can totally see the auction mentality of somebody, at the end, they're just really wanting the car and maybe paying a little bit more for it than they maybe should,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that for the price that it was sold for, it was definitely, that's a good price for it. The car was in really, really good shape. I mean, I saw it, and it was in much better shape than the E46 I had was. That's for sure. And it had much better options on it too. And it had just under 100,000 miles on it, so that's still the sweet spot right there. So it was very, very nice. I was just thinking about that when you were kind of just talking through it. Like the I've never experienced like buying anything on Bring a Trailer, but like you bring up the eBay thing, and it's similar, but I can just see how much, I guess, it would be more fun and more engaging it would be if there was like comments on it. Cause like I haven't sold anything of major value on eBay, but like, video games and stuff like that. And it's just like those last like 10, 20 minutes they're exhilarating, because you're just like, oh, okay, and then, you're like, okay, that sold for more than I thought it would. That was pretty awesome.
Sure.
And then the only problem is then you get addicted to doing it. And then you're like, before you know it, you've extinguished your collection of either video games, Hot Wheels, cars, whatever it may be, because you sold them all on auction. So cool. So where did the car end up going?
So the winning bidder was in Long Beach, so not too far away.
Oh.
And so he came up with his wife and picked up the car the next day. It was pretty nice. That actually worked out really well. Didn't have to ship it anywhere, so he was relatively close. And the car was for their son. So their son's 15, turning 16 soon, and they were basically buying the first car for their son.
It's a hell of a car.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, just great chassis, and so really fun car to drive, and just hampered by that damn automatic. And I think that's
Yeah.
perfect for a first, for a first car for a teenager, where you got this great fun chassis, but you got this automatic transmission that's kind of probably keep you in check. And
Yeah, that's true. I think an E46 would be a great first car for a kid, just
Yeah.
because, they're relatively safe. They're, made of high strength German steel and everything.
Sure.
And,
Well,
and
for an old car, they had side airbags back then
yeah,
too.
yeah, they did. They sure did. Yeah, all the airbags and stuff. And it doesn't have some, I know we talked about it a couple episodes in the past about modern safety stuff, but it doesn't kind of have all those added distractions. It's when you cut it down to the bone, it's a basic car. I mean, it's still a BMW. You have a legendary inline six-cylinder engine, and yours was a 330. I think yours was a 215 horsepower model, correct? Or
225.
225. There we go. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun for a 15-year-old kid.
Totally. Yeah.
So, well, congrats to him, and I'm sure he's going to be. Hopefully, he or she. Did you say I didn't?
Yeah, it was for their son. Yeah,
their son. That's right. He's going to be, proud to show that thing off in the high school parking lot.
And like you said, it was in really good shape. I bought it when I bought it for my coworker. I may have mentioned this before, but I didn't even test drive it just because I knew how he took care of that car. He was either always garage or covered, and always on top of the maintenance and everything. So it was. And probably one of the few E46s you're going to find with under 100,000 miles. I'm sure by now it's got over 100, but that was, I was really trying to not put that many miles on it in the last month or so, just because I wanted to keep it under 100 for the auction.
Yeah, when I was looking for my E46 back in January, like that was my whole thing, was the lowest mileage would be the best for the price I'm looking for. And it was extraordinarily hard, even if I like bumped up my potential, price I would spend for the car to find them under 100,000 miles. It was pretty rare. So yeah, they're a car that if you find one under 100K, if you've got the means and you really want one, that's the one to snap up for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah,
cool.
Overall, I'd say that in terms of selling a vehicle, obviously you have to get accepted to bring a trailer, but I would say that Bring a Trailer probably has maybe slightly higher quality. Maybe quality is not the right word, but the type of buyers that you'd find on Bring a Trailer, I think they're maybe a little bit more discerning, but also, maybe they understand the specific cars a little bit better than you might, find as your average customer on eBay. So I think it's for the right car, it's a really good place to sell a car. And I think it was $100 for me to list the car, and the buyer pays a fee. So based on the sale price of the car. So $100. Totally worth it. I don't, if I had sold that on Craigslist or Facebook, I probably would have got $445. So I feel like
it might still be for sale too, because that was the other advantage of it, is just 7 days, no reserve.
Sure.
Especially if it's something you want to, see move on, like in this instance, then that works pretty well. So
yeah. And I do think that the auction mentality helped push the sale price up a little bit, where I know that guy, he just really wanted it for his kid. I think he was dead set on the car, and he put that big bid at the end just to kind of shut everybody else down. And he got the car. So I'm very pleased with that. I would definitely use Bring a Trailer again for the right vehicle.
Yeah.
So
no, I can see that. Yeah. I agree totally when it comes to the discerning customer, when, it's an auction and they know about the car. It's not like a Craigslist ad that like somebody's just going to go and, kick the tire or something like that. It's like the people that are really interested and really in the market to buy a car and have the means to do so on an auction site like Bring a Trailer, they're going to do it. So that's awesome. And I'm glad the experience was great for you. It was I was watching the auction myself. I was like, okay, what's going on? I saw it when it was like stopped. I was like, oh, damn. But then I saw it pick back up. I was like, oh, here we go. There we go. So that was very cool. Very cool. So
definitely. And it's funny that the the two people that test drove it, they did not win the auction. So it's I did have a couple of people come by and look at it, but they were I think one of the guys just decided he wasn't for him, and the other one, I think his max was like $3,000. So yeah, it wasn't even really close. So
And they were people that were placing bids on Bring a Trailer?
yeah,
Oh, okay. So they contacted you and
yeah,
you said, okay, well, that's pretty cool because that's kind of like the thing, as long as you're local, of course, but like
sure,
if, you weren't local, you couldn't necessarily test drive it. And that's kind of the risk you're taking is, okay, maybe, it looks great in pictures, but when I see this up close,
sure.
whatever the case may be.
Well, and that's why
Um,
I try to take really good photos of all the issues with the car
yeah.
too, and I think that's sort of what people come to expect on Bring a Trailer, that kind of things, those kind of things will be documented.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
So,
true. Versus somebody who's trying to hide something like, what was it? The seat belt that was covering um,
oh,
messed
like
up the
yeah,
messed up seat that, the little
yes,
things that dealers do to, oh
yep,
yeah, it's in perfect condition. You get all the way there and, oh wait, what happened here? Oh yeah, the seatbelt was covering it in the picture.
yes,
So, well,
yep.
cool. So what's that bring the count down to now, Ethan? So we've gotten the E46 is gone. So what are we at
Okay.
now?
I don't even know. I don't know how many cars I own. I know that sounds terrible, but I actually don't. I think I'm down to 9. I
Okay.
think.
Single
I think.
digits. So,
I think I'd have to do the math, and that's probably kind of boring, but I think it's 9.
okay. So you have 9 and you have another BMW that
Yes.
something's going on with that too.
Yeah, so I mentioned this in the past, and if people might remember that I've got this 1997 740iL. It's an E38. It's a long wheelbase BMW 7 Series. Original price was 70,000, which is a lot of money back then. $110,000 in 2019 dollars. So yeah, at one point it was a $100,000 plus car, and I'm basically giving it away because it's worth nothing today. Um,
Gotta
so
love
yeah,
that depreciation.
yes. So that car, I did a video for that recently, where it was basically a video contest. People created videos to with their reasons of why they want the car and what they plan on doing with it. So I picked the top 5 videos that were submitted, and
Mm-hmm.
there were some really, really good submissions. And if you want to go ahead and vote on who you think should get the car, you can go to youtube.com/hello road. And one of my recent videos, you can vote for it. So there's one of the guys has a YouTube channel, and he has this, it's a Chrysler K car
Yeah.
limousine. And it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just any
Unique.
kind of like tacky like thing you could put on it, like a lion's head on the bumpers, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't even know. It's just like all of these weird shots. It's just very, very tacky. And he bought this thing. Still don't really know exactly why he bought it, but so he owns that. And it's just he has an interesting collection of cars, and what he
He
wants to
does.
do is road trip it across the US and then give it away once he's done with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I watched the video and got to
Yeah.
see all the submissions. I mean, it's tough. It's like,
Yeah.
you hear some of these stories and you're like, man, and it's a tough thing, but at the same time, the public will have the final say in this one.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
with all the votes, and then we'll go from there. So, but yeah, that's incredibly cool. And the video itself was great, and all the submissions that I got to see were awesome. So very, very fun.
Also, just like a very different, everybody was a little bit different. There was
Yeah.
one of the guys, he's kind of, his first car is an E46, and he wants a project to just kind of learn how to work on a BMW V8.
Hmm.
And then there's another guy that has like 7 or 8 BMWs, and he just wants to road trip it across the US and
Hmm.
and have it join his collection. And there's another guy that just has always wanted a BMW and has never had the chance to get one. So there's a lot of different. I think it's really hard to choose to vote for.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at it and I was looking at all the comments, and it's like, it looks like it's going to lean one way, but then again, it looks like it's going to lean another way. So it's been
Hmm.
a day or two since I've looked at them, so I haven't seen where it's at right now. But yeah, it's pretty good, and definitely a unique thing to do in terms of, you know getting a free car to somebody like this and helping thin down your herd a tiny bit. So,
Sure.
and especially if no matter what happens, that whomever is going to get the car is going to have one hell of a story to tell on just how they got it. So,
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it all pans out, and
yeah, I am
who's
too.
going to get the car. And it's a big money loser for me. I try to remember how much I paid for the car. I probably blocked it out just because I don't even want to think about it. The car's just not worth anything
Mhm.
really. But I think it's worth something to some of these people because they have some plans of what they could do with it and
Sure.
what kind of adventures they could have in it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see where it goes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. You see all those memes and stuff like that. And right now it's going to be one of those that on the very bottom, it's going to say plus 100 karma because of this. So, that's what it's going to be. Maybe
We'll see.
I would say more. So
We'll see. It's
yeah,
possible the car won't make it to whoever wins
that's
it.
true.
So.
But they'll have a hell of a story.
Sure. I just hope that it doesn't break down on somebody on the way to their house. I really hope that doesn't happen. But,
Right. Yeah.
well, it's been, and I mentioned this in my video, it's actually been extremely reliable.
Mhm.
I put about 5,000 miles on the thing, and all I've done is a sensor. Really, it's been surprisingly good to me. So I have no idea how that's possible. An old 7 Series BMW is probably supposed to be way worse than this one was, but it just.
I think the E38 though was right. It was the last generation, kind of like that whole like E38, E39, E46, right before they started getting into all their crazy iDrives and weird electronics and sensors and stuff. And that's what really, really kind of tips that scale into the, okay, this is going to break, this is going to break, this is going to break and be expensive to fix.
Sure.
Whereas the E38 was, kind of like I just talked about the E46, a pretty basic car. It didn't have anything too fancy in it. But, it could still be fixed with relative ease by a normal person. So
Sure. And I think the main thing that people might have to worry about is the timing chain guides on this car are plastic or vinyl or something. I can't remember what they are.
They're plastic, and
Plastic.
and that is kind of a thing that they do deteriorate over time.
Yeah.
Which this is a 97, so we're
With 212,000 miles.
212,000 miles. Yeah. So it could be time soon. And it is a bit of an expensive job to do if you have it done somewhere else. But if you DIY the job, which isn't, from my knowledge, isn't too bad to do if you're a bit mechanically inclined.
Sure.
You're looking at maybe $1,500 on it. But I mean, if you're getting the car for free and you put $1,500 in it to basically give you that sense of the motor can last for a lot longer, then yeah, awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, those are pretty stout, those engines right there. So
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me that it's got that many miles and still running good.
Yeah, and I love the sound of that. Like, it's funny because I had the E46 and I got this E38. I love the sound of that engine. It sounds great.
There's a thing about German V8s and there's a thing about like Japanese V8s that they just sound different than American V8s. And it's not that American V8s sound bad. They, a lot of them sound good, but if you like an E39 M5, one of my favorite cars of all time,
sure,
the way that car sounds is just absolutely epic. But the same can be said for like, if there's this guy I see when I'm driving to work, he's got a LS 400 or something. Yeah, I always see him on the freeway, and it's all dumped into the weeds and everything. But it's got probably no mufflers on it, and it just sounds mean as hell. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. That's fun. This is going to be a very, very cool thing for somebody out there. So yeah, check that video out.
Yeah. So what's going on with your car stuff right now?
My car stuff. I dropped the hammer on a set of tires for the Daihatsu for the 14-inch Toyota Prius wheels I had bought for it about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big thing. I kind of just sat there going back and forth, trying to figure out what's going to be the perfect size, because the issue that the Charade has is that little fender skirt thing that's in the back, and it really makes it difficult for a lot of aftermarket wheels to fit back there. So I'd actually posted up on my Instagram about it, and I said, if any of my international friends that know anything about this, hit me up. And I actually got probably 4 or 5 of them that are all have modified Charades. And so it was pretty cool. I was very, very thankful for the power of social media at that point, because I got a lot of great information besides just like for the wheels, but like for suspension stuff and also all sorts of other things. So it was really a really cool, fun experience. I know about what extremes could fit back there now, so that's fun. I don't think it's definitely not going to happen right now because I've just invested money in a set of really awesome $150 eBay tires.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's
okay.
I'm going to tear them up at the autocross anyways. So
yeah, that's fine.
So I got those, and that's all well and good. They came. I think they're Lizettis. They have a
No
horse on
idea
them.
what that is.
Yeah, $150 on eBay. You can't beat it. But
150 a set. That's crazy
for the whole set. Yeah, and it was funny because earlier this year I actually had bought a replacement set of tires for the stock steel 13-inch wheels that are currently on the Charade, and those were actually about the same price because they're Toyos that are made in Japan. So, and it actually is the exact tire that was on the car, but the date stamp on them was from like 2009. And so they had a lot of the like weathering and the cracking on it. So I just wanted to replace them. So I will have 2 sets of wheels for the Charade. Well, I have now 2 sets of wheels for the Charade. I got to get the tires mounted up. That's going to happen probably sometime this week. And then it comes time, the moment of truth, if my mathematical calculations work. So I actually have a set of thin there. I say that, carefully because I don't want to get attacked about wheel spacers, but I have a set of 7mm wheel spacers that I'm possibly going to need to actually run in the back to push the wheels out a little bit. So we'll see. And if they don't, and if I don't need them, then I might put them on the fit.
Sure.
They're the same bolt pattern. So so that's been the tire thing. And the other fun thing I've been doing in my punk rock DIY ethos is the Prius wheels that I had purchased. They're a little worse for wear. They were on a car that probably wasn't taken care of very well. There's a lot of caked on brake dust that are on them, and they're like a polished aluminum wheel. If these are from a first generation Prius, one of my other favorite cars, as we all learned, so I've been working on cleaning them up, and I even went as far to go out and buy that Mother's power cone with the aluminum wheel polish and everything like that. So I've been, spending a bit of money on these things, but I've been working my butt off the last couple weeks trying to like polish them up to get them looking somewhat decent. And they came out okay. There was a few times when I was like, screw it, I'm just going to paint these things. But we're going to run them this way, and if I want to paint them down the line, I'll paint them down the line. So
sure. So do you think that the Mother stuff actually did anything? Did it actually help, or are these just a little bit too far gone?
It did help. It did. It didn't necessarily clear the grime off. That was my concoction of simple green, elbow grease, and kind of a pretty aggressive brush, which was fine because I ended up going and hitting it with the Mother's polish on the little cone. I mean, it did make a difference. Some of them look better than others, but it's just, I think I didn't do it any favors because now I can see more of the defects that are in it. Be like some of the clear coat's gone off the wheels. So I should probably like shoot some clear over those wheels, I guess, before I mount tires up onto them. But we'll see. We'll see
I guess it depends on what you're gonna. These are going to be your autocross wheels, essentially.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the tires I got are actually they're not a whole ton wider. When I say this is like putting like huge drag slicks on a Charade, I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
185 60 14 that's going on it
Those are
compared to the
gigantic.
stock 155 80 13s. So
Sure.
it's a decent step up in terms of the width and everything. So it's probably going to help in the handling department a little bit.
Sure.
So yeah, that's going on. And then I've got some time scheduled next weekend to actually start doing the suspension overhaul. I bought all those parts from AutoZone, if we remember, from
Yeah.
their rare parts. So looking forward to that. So that's going to go on to the Charade, and we'll be styling at that point. I think it'll be nice and hot in the summertime, and it'll be a good time for an autocross.
For sure. Yeah. And I definitely can't wait to take this. I've actually never autocrossed before, so it'd be
Hmm.
kind of neat to do my first session in a Daihatsu. So
Yeah,
I'd be definitely looking forward to that.
yeah, memorable for sure.
Yes. Yes.
So
I'll hit
yeah,
all of
so
the cones. The point is to hit every cone, right?
the point is to not find the one that's filled with concrete.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know where it is. There's always one-on-one course.
Sure.
No.
Don't hit that one.
So yeah, so that should be fun. So that's the fun and exciting stuff going on with the Charade. I'm
Yes.
trying to think the fit. I was kind of toying with the notion of putting some wheels and tires on it, and
Okay.
I have an optimal size and an optimal tire figured out, but yeah, I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna let wear these tires down a bit on it before I go in and start throwing more money at it. I
Sure.
I kind of want to maybe even take it out to one of the events and just see how it does as it sits in a basically 100% stock form, and see how it feels out on the course. Like I've taken it up to the canyons once, twice, and it feels
Sure.
great the way it is. And it's like, well, this thing has kind of crappy Firestone all season tires on it. Why is it handling so good? But again, it's just the way that car is so rigid, and the weight distribution of the car with the fuel tank sitting underneath the driver and passenger seat. It's just a bit more balanced to me, or it just works for me, I guess.
Sure.
So yeah, so down the line we're going to do that, but that's a continuous thing. Unless, of course, I come across a deal. I've got one of those OfferUp notification set, which I don't know if you've ever used OfferUp, but
I haven't.
it's pretty cool because you can set notifications for something. So
Okay.
if someone posts up, like I have one set for Daihatsu, so anything Daihatsu, I get a notification. Oh, there's a Daihatsu posted up, but more often than not, it's just somebody using it as a tag.
Sure. Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've got it set up for some wheels in the size I want, and we'll see what happens. So
Yeah.
lots of fun stuff. Lots of fun
Nice.
stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So speaking of Hondas,
Mm.
a couple weeks ago, I rented a Honda Civic Type R.
Ooh.
Yes. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago about, the cars on Turo. So this is the one that I ended up going with, was the Type R. It's a 2018 model.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, let me see if I'm getting this right. It's the most powerful production Honda to ever reach North America, I believe. And it's the world's fastest front wheel drive production car, at least in terms of like the lap records that it's set on certain tracks.
I think it just got eclipsed by
Did it?
some Renault. Yeah.
Okay. So,
It's always back and forth over there for the front wheel drive thing. But yeah, I think it did just this week, actually. But
okay.
either
Well,
or.
that's funny. That's funny because I'm working on a video for this car, and I'll have to make sure that that's accurate. I'll have to do a little disclaimer in there.
A little asterisk.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, obviously I'll go into full detail on the car in that video, but we talked about this before. I cannot get over the looks of this car.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I had so much fun. This is one of the most fun. It's maybe like up there, top two most fun cars I've ever driven.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And, I haven't driven a ton of vehicles. Obviously, some of the exotics I haven't driven, so I can't say, not comparing it to anything like that. But it's so incredible that this vehicle is front wheel drive, and it's as good as it is. I just on some of the back roads, and it's just, it just goes. It's crazy, and it's so planted. And if you push it really, really hard, you can get it to understeer, but you really, really have to be pushing it really, really hard.
Right.
And I think the tires on it were not the original, so it wasn't the original Continentals. It was some other garbage front tire. Not garbage, but it wasn't as good. So I think that might have been the reason why I was getting it to slide just a little bit.
Okay.
But it was also, in terms of, I think, there's been a lot of reviews about this car already. Really kind of negligible torque steer, negligible turbo lag. I mean, it's just so good. And the interior is like comfortable. The seats are great. It's a Honda Civic, so it's going to be reliable. I really love this car. And if I didn't have to look at it, I would totally buy one of these things.
It's almost like if they made like a wagon version of it or something where it doesn't have the wing,
Well, and part of the problem is that I tend to like sleepers more than sort of ostentatious, over the top car. So, I don't know if I could get past that, how it's like, so it's just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. That's what the car is just screaming. And I feel like it would be more powerful. The car would make more of a statement if it was a little bit understated,
Yeah. I agree totally. Like the first generation Civic Type R, the EK chassis that came out in 97, I think, it looked just like a regular hatchback Honda Civic. There was really no telling that it was a Type R, except for it had the side skirts, the little front splitter, and a badge on the back. And if you looked inside, there was red seats. Like, that's it. Other than that, it looked like, grandma's Honda Civic that's got hubcaps on it. It was very, very understated. And as they've progressed with the Civics, like they've gotten a bit wilder. The EP chassis was pretty understated as well, the little egg-shaped one. And then after that they started to get, okay, we're going to put a wing on it for some downforce. Okay, well, we're going to do this. And then when they did this current generation, it just was like, okay, let's just make this thing look like a Mobile Suit Gundam. And for the road, which, I tend to like sleepers a bit more than something ostentatious like that. But I still like that Type R. I think the wing is okay. I have seen better ones when I was at Go Tuning Unlimited, the spoon distributor, to get my exhaust for my Fit. They had one, a Type R in there that had a different wing on it. Can't really explain what it looks like. It was just different, and it looked a lot better. So it's some aftermarket one, but still. Yep.
And I think it's part of it is, when the new Civic design came out, it was weird, and I think there's enough of them on the road now that I think people are starting to get used to them. But there's just certain design elements that I cannot get over. The fake plastic grills on the rear bumper. I really, really don't like that. I can deal with it on the front because it kind of blends in with the grill a little bit. And maybe I could see myself in a Type R if it was black and I took off the wing, because the black paint would somewhat mask the fake grills everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, I could maybe see. I mean, the car is just so good. I could probably deal with like barfing every once in a while and just not looking back at it when I leave it in a parking lot.
Well, yeah, that's true. And you don't see the wing from the inside, do you? From out the rear view?
No, it's actually pretty decent to see out of, and it doesn't block the view like. I think in the STI, it's a little bit more in the way.
Yeah. Evos as well. Like my buddy's Evo 9, it's a pain to see out the rear window if you're driving it because it's like there's a giant wing right there.
Sure.
So it drove really good. So
yes,
if you were to compare it to my wonderful 2018 Honda Fit Sport, yeah, it's pretty much the same. You felt some of the DNA from the Fit in the Civic Type R, right?
It's exactly the same.
Oh my gosh,
totally. No, it's completely different. I can't find any similarities in any way other than the badge. But you really have to drive one of these cars.
I need to.
I just was so impressed with it. I will say I've never driven a Focus RS, so I really want to drive that next, so I can do an AB with it.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven an STI, I've driven an Evo, I've driven a Mazda Speed 3. I feel like this is kind of like what I wish Mazda would come out with, you know?
Oh yeah.
I wish this was, I wish Mazda there was another Mazda Speed 3, and they sort of fixed the torque steer problem that they had, because
the yank your arm in another direction. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Type R has got that dual axis design that really kind of more or less eliminates it. And I would love for Mazda to do something like that on a Mazda Speed 3. But it's probably not going to happen ever.
Yeah, there was what was it, about a year ago? One of the main heads of at least North America Mazda said that it was kind of an immature thing that they even kind of did that, and they were looking to become a more refined company. But it was like, what the hell? I mean, that was awesome. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it'll happen again. Maybe they'll surprise us, but yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
Cool. So here's the thing: when you were talking about getting one of these things on Turo, you also were talking about doing a Fiesta ST. So now you've got to go get a Fiesta ST, because I got to hear the comparison between the Fiesta ST, which as we know is not my favorite car,
sure,
to the Type R, because everybody loves the ST so much, and it's held in such a high pedestal. Like it's great. It's perfect. It's just the right amount of power, just the right amount of car. So,
yep.
Go forth.
Okay. I will definitely do that. I haven't seen a Focus RS for rent anywhere. But I really have to try to find one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fiesta ST, there's definitely one up there. Yeah. And I've driven the Focus ST, which was fun, but I didn't like the interior of that car, so I'm guessing the RS is probably pretty similar.
It's pretty much the same thing.
And
the Fiesta's a lot further down the pipeline, but
sure, the Type R interior was great though.
Yeah, I've sat in one at the auto show, though not the year they came out, I guess the following year or something. Whenever they were letting peons walking around sit into the Type R's. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. The seats that were in it, absolutely amazing.
Great seats.
The way everything was positioned was great, and it's very similar to like the other Civics, because if you get like a Civic Sport with a 1.5 with a manual, it's kind of similar. And then they also have the SIs now, but the SIs are a little, I don't know, they don't have the hatchback version of it. They only have the coupe, which I'm not really a fan of the looks, and then the sedan, which I'm really not a fan of the looks. So yeah, you're kind of left with either the Type R or the Sport. So, well, that's fun. That's a lot of fun right there. So
that I did a video with that, did a little road trip with that car, and hopefully I'll get that video done in maybe a week and a half, something like that. So
cool. I look forward to seeing it.
Tons of fun. Love that car. I mean, I hated it. You gotta wait. I mean, you gotta watch the video to find out my real thoughts. Spoiler alert. Okay, never mind.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Well, it's a love-hate relationship. It's like I love to drive it. I don't like to look at it.
Yeah.
No way.
But when you're driving it, you just forget about it. It's only when you get out and you're like, oh crap, I own that. Are driving that?
What did I do?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, fun. Well, while we're on the subject of we're always on the subject of Japanese vehicles on the show. I did something pretty cool yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I did. I went to the 24th annual Toyotafest, and
they've been doing it for 24 years.
I didn't realize that. I've only gone the last 2 years.
I have never gone.
Yeah, but this is the 24th one, and it was in Long Beach. It's an all Toyota show, which I don't own any Toyota products unless you count the little bit that Daihatsu's owned by Toyota, and I've never owned a Toyota product, and neither has anybody in my family, but still I like a lot of their models, and the show last year was really cool, and the best part about the show is it's free, except for parking, but that's expected. So yeah, it was cool. I went out there yesterday morning, and It's at the Marina Green Park that is now the home for the Japanese classic car show that used to be across the harbor next to the Queen Mary. It's a big park. If you it kind of goes all along Shoreline Drive, and if you're a fan of IndyCar or any of the Long Beach Grand Prix, it's actually pretty much that whole front straightaway that the
Mm-hmm.
cars go down after they come out of that last hairpin and fire down Shoreline Avenue or Shoreline Drive or whatever
Yeah,
plate kind of street it is.
sure.
So it's pretty big. So it was really cool. Probably, if I'm going to guess just from my knowledge of car shows now, I would say easily 500 cars were there.
Wow. Okay.
All Toyotas, Lexus, and Scion.
Yep.
So some really cool stuff. They kind of have it divided into sections where like all the Land Cruisers are together, which is also by the Forerunners and by the
Uh-huh.
Tacomas and FJs. So you have all those guys, and that's, some amazing stuff over there. And then it's separated, you pretty much think of any Toyota model, and they're going to have a little section for you, with the
Yeah.
exception of like some of the rare cars or the one-offs. Um, so it was very cool. The only thing that disappointed me was my favorite car of all time is the Toyota Sports 800, and
Yeah, that's pretty rad car.
I love that car. And
Yep.
last year, one of them was there, and it
Okay.
was great to see it because I knew I wasn't going to get to go to the Japanese Classic Car Show last year because it fell on the same
Mm-hmm.
date that we had my youngest daughter's first birthday party and priorities.
She
So I
has
got.
she has she'll have other birthdays. It's not a
Yeah,
big deal.
that's true. It
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
first one though.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, so that wasn't there. So it was a little disappointing that I didn't get to see a Sports 800, but Japanese Classic Car Show is right around the corner, and I got to see one at the Peterson already this year when I went
Yeah.
earlier. So
Yep.
because there was one there. Some amazing cars, and this year they had. I want to say there was probably 10, maybe 8. I don't know, a couple more than I've ever seen together in one place. Toyota Starlets.
Yeah.
Um, I've I've always loved those cars, and to see that many of them together was pretty cool in different states of tune. I think the Toyota Museum, which used to be in Torrance, and then was moved to Texas,
Yep.
they had one of their Starlets out there. So, which leads me to believe I don't think any of the cars have moved to Texas yet. I think they're probably stored in a
Okay.
warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
So theirs, which only has like 200 and something miles on it. I couldn't really
Oh,
get a good
geez.
look at the odometer, but great shape. And I think it was brown, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was brown. So it was a great color for a Starlet. We had.
I'm looking at a picture of the you have the AE82 Corolla
Mhm,
with the
mhm,
red and silver
mhm.
wind white stripes. That thing looks awesome. It's not a car that you'd normally see kind of done up, kind of sporty. It's just, like, oh, that's just a 80s Corolla, but this looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean there was some absolutely amazing stuff out there that like you don't normally see done
Yeah.
up, done up there. Like there's a probably about 10 or 15 guys and girls there that had their Priuses all hooked up and set up, and
Oh, sweet.
yeah, it was really cool. But there was also other like really weird understated things. Like probably one of my favorite things I saw, there was a very, I mean, it has like, I guess you could say they're RPF ones. I don't know if they actually were or not. Toyota Echo, four-door Echo, but
Yep.
it was a very rare accessory, the TRD supercharger on it.
An Echo with a supercharger.
An
That was
Echo
a
with a
that was a
supercharger. It was
wow.
pretty awesome. So I spent some time looking over that one right there. Uh,
Okay.
um, very, very cool. Um,
That's interesting. I would like to check that out. My mom had an Echo for a while.
mhm.
I did not like that vehicle, but I could kind of see it being sort of fun with a supercharger on it.
Yeah, you got to have it set up right. Got to have the 5-speed in it and
Yeah.
the TRD supercharger, and be a lot of fun that way. What else was there? The one of the cars I saw. And if you check out my Instagram, there was a couple. I did a couple posts about the show. There was a Mark One Supra that was there. It was brown, and it was on some awesome wheels. I want to say they were like. I don't even want to say the name because I'm going to just butcher it too bad. But if you're a wheel aficionado and you look at them, you're going to be like, oh, those are whatever they're
Yeah.
called.
Okay.
But it was like lower down, and it looks so good. I kept coming back to that car multiple times just to keep looking at it, and I was like, man, that's such a cool looking car. They're not meant to be super speedy, because they were meant to be more of a GT type of
Yeah.
a cruiser, and they're actually the first generation Supra was actually like another model of the Celica. So
Yep.
they just put the big inline 6-cylinder in it. So it was pretty cool. I did get to see my very first new Supra there. They had one,
Oh,
Toyota
okay.
had one there on display. So that was
Mhm.
awesome to see in person, because, there's been so
Yeah.
much, good and bad about the car on the internet with, the whole uh, the brand sharing between it and
Sure.
Toyota and BMW. But in person, the car looks great. It's actually bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a little
Okay.
smaller.
Yep.
It looks great. I think it's going to be a very successful car for Toyota. Um, you know, Barring the BMW thing, some people are going to be totally against that. But, they make a good engine, BMW does. So does Toyota. But I it makes sense that Toyota didn't have an inline 6-cylinder engine to put into their
Sure.
Supra, so they went to Germany, to the place that made them the best, and here we are today. I want to drive it.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to drive it. Some of the other standouts that were there, there was a lifted Lexus LS 400, and I
Yeah.
posted a picture up of it. It's actually, if you search the Toyotafest 2019 tag on Instagram, it's one of the most tagged ones that were there. It was pretty wild. It was all dirty and everything like that, so it was all like caked mud on it, and it looked awesome. That
It's
was
funny. I feel like I follow the girl that owns that car on Instagram, possibly.
oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out if it's the same car or not. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at her Instagram real quick. I
Yeah.
think it might be the same car. It's NA period Volvo, but I think that was her car. I could be wrong, but
Okay.
it looks like it.
Might have to check that out. The thing that you see there at the Toyota Fest is you're going to have when you get to the one area where like all the
Lexi, so I don't know.
Lexuses
Yep.
are, is a lot of those, a lot of the LSs and the GSs, and pretty much all those cars have been, you're in two categories. You're either in like the bone stock category, or you're in the slammed in the weeds, like I was talking about earlier about that one that I see constantly when I'm driving to work.
Sure.
There was a couple that were there that were like right in the middle ground, and when they're not slammed in the weeds, maybe just a moderate lowering,
Mm-hmm.
no crazy huge wheels on it, just the right size wheels that are aftermarket. They look so good.
Yeah.
I
It's
kept
a good
going
looking
back to
car.
some of those LSs. I was like, man, those are good. And it was, yesterday I was spent a lot of time on OfferUp and Craigslist just looking. I'm like, man, these are cheap. But
I think you definitely have a thing. You have a thing for the full size 90s Japanese luxury. You were all over the Acura
yeah,
Legend at
hmm
Radwood Vegas. So yeah,
it's a weird thing, because it's like small scrappy hatchbacks that
yeah,
have no power, or kind of weird big bruiser, like Japanese
sure.
four
Well, you
door
got your
saloons.
weekend car. You got
Yeah.
your weekend kind of car to go around the back roads, and then you got your nice luxurious cruiser to get to work in.
Yep.
Yeah, you need both pretty much.
I think I do. The only other thing I can say about the show, I mean, the show overall was great. There was great representation for pretty much every model there, with the exception of one category of vehicles. And
Hmm.
one of the other things I love the most, and those would be Toyota Previas.
Oh, was there any of them
No,
there?
no,
No Previas.
no
Whoa.
Previas. The
How
only
about
only
the
vans that were
vans?
there, two Toyota vans, like the regular old vans,
Yep.
from the 80s. They were there, and then the Tien suspension company had their Sienna there, which is all set up on
Oh,
their suspension and stuff.
yeah.
But that
I
was
kind
it.
of
I
like that.
was, a little sad that there was not a Previa out there.
Wow.
That happened
Okay.
last year too. I was like, man, so much cool stuff, but no Previa.
Well, I
So,
think you might have to be the person that changes that rectifies that. So
well, that's the thing, Ethan, is I can already think of like, well, technically three cars that I would be able to take to that show if I was crazy enough to do it, and I would,
sure.
get a Previa, of course, take it
Mm-hmm.
to the show. my first generation Prius, because there was not one of those at the show either.
Okay.
And
Yep.
then the Daihatsu is like halfway made by Toyota, so it should come too. So
Sure. Yeah, I was curious if they would allow my Chevy Nova twin cam, since it's essentially a Sprinter, Toyota
right.
Sprinter.
You know what
So
we
I
should
think,
do?
yeah.
We should do it next year.
All
We should
right.
tell them, be like, put us together,
Yep.
because we're the
We're the badge engineered vehicles,
badge engineered
or
vehicles.
the yeah,
There we go.
tangentially related to Toyota.
And maybe it can go next to the new Supra.
Yep.
There you
I
go.
think that's fair.
We figured out
Yeah.
part of the show for them next year already.
Okay.
We need to reach out to
Yeah.
them, or I'm sure
We
they
should
listen. So
We should be doing their marketing for them. Okay. So that sounds like a great. I don't know why I've never been to that thing, and I did not realize it was going on for that long. That's
24
nuts.
years, Ethan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had only known about it a couple years ago, and I always like would miss it. And it wasn't until like social media came about that it was like,
Sure.
oh yeah, it's this is it. It's that people would be promoting it, and it'd be like,
Yeah.
oh okay, cool. Because even like 10, 15 years ago, when I'd go to a Japanese classic car show, I'd see people walking around with like Toyotafest or whatever the case was, whatever it was called back then. It was like, oh man, I missed that. I bet you there was some Sports 800s there or something. And sure enough. So yeah, very, very cool show.
Nice.
Very well put together. Some excellent cars out there too. So
okay. Well, we'll definitely go next year. We'll try to figure out what we're going to bring.
We're going to crash it. That's
yeah. Speaking of Toyota, we're going to finally, thank God, get rid of our Prius. Yes. So it's 2016 Prius. I might have mentioned this before, but it makes me sad. The car just makes me sad. It's awful. It gets great gas mileage. It's not great to drive. The brakes are terrible. I think we've gone over all this before.
Yes.
But so what we've decided to do is to make the leap into an electric car. My wife has, as soon as she started seeing electric cars come on the market, she's like, I really, really want to do that. Really want to go that route and just not ever have to go to the gas station. So going to try. I don't know how I'm going to sell the Prius. I actually went on. Are you familiar with Carvana?
I've heard about them a little bit. When I was working for CarMax, they were up and coming as like a competitor.
Okay. Sure. And basically the whole idea is, you get a quote online, they come and pick your car up from your house. You don't have to do anything, at least in terms of selling a vehicle. So you basically put your VIN number and your mileage and your any other pertinent information, and they'll give you a quote immediately. So we got a quote for what the purchase price would be, and it's pretty decent, Mm-hmm. So I think there's another one called Shift that I tried out, and the purchase price for that was quite a bit lower. So,
okay.
And then I looked into trade-in values, and I also thought about maybe I could list this one myself on Craigslist, but I think I might go for convenience this time around. So yeah, I might actually do the Carvana thing and just have them come and take that car away. I'm just gonna be so happy when that car goes away.
I think
there was
Go
ahead.
Sorry. There was a DWA episode a couple weeks ago. I guess Lane had sold his GTI and he used Carvana, and he kind of documented the whole thing. Sounds like a good way to go. So
yeah, I'm definitely. I think that might be the way we're going to do it.
So what's she going to do? I mean, she wants an electric car, but I don't think there's an electric car in your fleet.
No, there are not. So I probably. What we might do is get rid of the Prius and then just drive our old Scion for a while, and that'll be the family car for a little bit. Even though it's got 220,000 miles on it, it's fine. It still runs, starts up every time. And then we test drove. I sat in a couple things. I sat in a Model 3, Tesla mm-hmm. Model 3. It's fine, but I sat in the back seat and I couldn't fit. So
okay.
Also, I just couldn't fit my feet under the seat. And it was way, way smaller than I thought it was going to be. I think it's fine if you're just commuting, or you never have to put an adult in the back seat, maybe.
Right.
I mean, I guess, I'm kind of tall, so that's,
mm-hmm.
maybe I shouldn't be testing the back seat, but I've had to sit in the back seat of the Prius and it makes me angry. So I would like a car where that I can actually fit in. So we looked at that. We looked at the S, and that Model S didn't really have that much more space in it. It was in the back, at least.
Huh.
I mean, obviously the front seat's a lot more space, but we pretty quickly ruled both of those cars out. And then stupidly, we test drove a Model X that I can't afford. I was thinking like maybe we could afford a used one possibly. If I sell like every single car that I own, we might be able to get a Model X.
Mhm.
I will say I loved the Model X. It was great. It was so cool.
Huh.
I didn't expect to dig it, but you kind of got to look past a few of the little interior issues. Like I was looking around. Actually, I was sitting in the back seat while my wife was driving, and there was one little piece of trim that wasn't clipped in, and I just clipped it back in, just for Tesla. I just popped it back in for them, so little things like that, you're like, okay, this is kind of a lot of money for a car that has little issues like that. But in terms of the power off the line, it was great. The range is really good. It drove really nice. It was a little choppy, a little bumpy, but overall, that was, and that has the glass, the front windshield that goes way over your head.
Yeah.
Initially, you kind of have to get past there's way more information than your brain needs to process. You're just seeing like clouds and trees and stuff passing you. And it's kind of useless information. But once you kind of just ignore like that and just, appreciate like the more light that's coming into the passenger compartment, that was pretty neat. And the other thing I will say with those stupid doors in the back, those, what are they? They're not technically gull-wing. What are they? I don't know what they call them, but
he has some name for them.
Yeah, something stupid. We brought my daughter, we brought the car seat, and it was like so easy to put her in the car seat because there's essentially no roof. You just drop her right into the car.
Yeah.
That was pretty convenient. So, yeah, I don't know how we test drove a car that we can't afford, but it was a lot of fun.
That's fun to do that though.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's and then I did the autopilot. That was kind of cool. Oh, this is the other thing that I should mention. So the other day I was driving home from work and I looked over and I saw this Model 3 and this guy, his license plate. That's the problem with Tesla owners is that they always have these stupid vanity plates that make me angry and it makes me not want to own a Tesla. Like I like the technology. Yep. I like what the cars are all about, but there's something about some of the buyers and I can't stand Elon Musk. So I have this like thing going on that I'm not sure what to do. But anyway, so this guy, his license plate said, "Drive for me." Oh and he was in the seat. He was in the passenger. Oh, sorry. He was in the driver's seat. It would be funny if he was in the passenger seat. He was in the driver's seat. His seat was all the way back. He was leaned back and his eyes were closed. I kid you not. I have video and I have a photo. Of course, I was driving, like videotaping him. So that's probably more dangerous than him using autopilot. But yeah, he was just sitting there with his eyes closed, with autopilot on, because Elon Musk himself says that the car doesn't require your input. It's like, yeah, it probably does. So then I mentioned that to the sales guy, to the guy that we were test driving the car with, and he should have said, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that." But what he did say is, "Oh yeah, you can do that." I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be telling people that they can have their eye. And one of the things he mentioned is like, we've got customers that they get the majority of their work done on their phone while the car's driving for them. I'm like, you should also not say that.
Yeah. Well, it's a new technology still, and I'm sure one day in the future that it'll be the norm to see people sleeping or working on their computers while their autonomous car is delivering them to their office or place of business, whatever it may be. But right now it's still kind of new, and it's like, if you're asleep and, what does it do when you get to where you need to be? Does it say time to wake up or?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I can imagine doing that, and I would just fall asleep and be sleeping in the parking lot at my work. The car didn't wake me up. I thought I'd just be at a stoplight or something.
That's funny.
Oh, where's Paul? Oh, he's asleep in the Tesla again.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh man.
All right. So the Teslas are out?
Well, I will say this. I made a fair amount of money on my E46. Mm-hmm. I want to sell my truck. I feel like I can probably get like 15, 16 grand for that. Mm-hmm. We owe a little bit on the Prius, but I could probably get like another 10 grand out of that. If I could just like sell all of my cars and put it all towards a really nice Tesla, I could probably do that. But I really, really don't want to spend that much money on a vehicle. So we're probably going to look at the Kia Niro EV. I might even look at a used Leaf, because like part of the thing with an EV is that you generally don't need as much range as like what the newer ones need, a lot of people don't drive more than 100 miles a day or
Right.
50 miles a day. So we could probably get by with an old Leaf, and those are like $9,000.
Yeah, they're super cheap.
Yep. So
Yeah,
who knows?
they have a very low range.
Yes, they do.
They're advertised at like 80, but like once you turn on the radio, it's now 40.
Exactly.
So you got to watch out for that. But yeah, if as long as the commute's short, then yeah, I think the Leaf's a good car. I've driven a few of them. They're interesting.
Sure,
but they're cool, and they're funky looking and not in a bad way. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the way they look.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's like I love the Model X. I love that car, and my wife loved it, which is a problem because we kind of want one now. But it also sort of feels like, should I have like one nice car in my lifetime? One car that I'm like just proud of. Like, am I grown up finally? I can finally get a grown up car. But I always have these like the Prius I'm not complaining about owning, being able to be able to afford that kind of car. But one day I'll just own a really nice car.
Yeah, well, totally.
We'll see.
To be continued.
Yep. To be continued. We'll see. Let's see. Next week, Ethan sold all of his cars and now owns a Tesla and has a terrible license plate that praises Elon Musk. Actually, the best vanity plate that I saw on a Tesla. I think I saw, maybe Jason Camisa posted this on his Instagram. It just said panel gaps, basically making fun of the terrible build quality of Teslas.
Right.
But
that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd probably have to do something like that, like Elon sucks or something. I don't know. I really don't like that guy. He's really, but I just, the cars are good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Well,
yep.
We'll have to see what happens. It should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It should be interesting. I mean, at least if you go with Model X, you can open up the doors and pretend it's a DeLorean that doesn't suck to drive.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Well, cool. Fun stuff. Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about just basically what's been going on, but we will be back to our regular schedule of fun topics to talk about this coming week, I think. Yeah, when we record our next episode. So don't worry, faithful listeners. We'll be back to regular topics soon.
Yeah, we'll get some road trip stuff that we can talk about for the next episode. So
should be fun.
Epic road trips. Is that what we want to call the next episode?
Yeah,
maybe, possibly.
Okay. Yeah, we might change it to something, but sure. Epic road trips as it stands right now. So yes, that'll be our next one. Our third episode with our intro song too. So
whoa,
we've made it.
I know.
We've made it. So cool. I think that about wraps everything up for the evening. Let's see here. Social media. So where can everybody find Mr. Ethan Tufts?
That's where you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Mr. Ethan Tufts, and youtube.com/Hello Road. My most recent video is from our trip to Radwood, Vegas. So if you want to check that out, just go there. What about you, Paul?
You can find me at Paul's Finest Hour on Instagram and Twitter and Pokemon Go. That's where you can find me. Yeah, I'm still playing. You got to catch them. Got to catch them.
Yeah, I think you should change your Instagram name again to Paul's Boutique. I don't know why. I just think that's what you should have gone with. But anyway,
it might have been taken. I'm going to search. Yeah, probably. That'll just piss everybody off royally. Yeah. It's like, hey guys, guess what? I did it again.
I changed it again.
I should just change it every week. And there's not to go totally off tangent, but there's people that I follow on there that is just like, why did they change it like every week? It's like, okay,
yeah, okay. Who am I following again? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
cool. Well,
I think that's it. Yeah, you know what we got now? Outro music.
Ooh.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.